After 6 years of the 100, people are still asking if we really need it. And to be honest, I also have my views about it. And in this video, I'll also talk about some of your views because I did ask this question on my Instagram and a lot of you responded to it as well. The question was, has the 100 grown on you? And what do you think of the format and the league? Let's get into it. So I worked at the 100 for the first edition. That was in 2021. I was there and I was in the productions team. And I'll tell you my recollection of what the tournament meant at that time. So because it was still starting off initially, the idea was that they wanted to tap into a new demographic. And they wanted people who don't normally watch cricket to tune in and to be introduced to this game. Now, cricket, on its own in the original formats, which is Test cricket, ODI cricket, and T20 cricket, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. And, as cricket fans, we say, oh, we love cricket. It's the best sport. It's so cool. It's so interesting. It's so technical and it's also so exciting at the same time. And it's a beautiful, glorious game. And yes, as cricket fans, we are bound to say that and we're expected to say that. And we believe that everyone who comes across cricket will also fall in love with the game because that's how beautiful it is. Breaking news. That doesn't happen. In fact, people, when they're first introduced to cricket, they don't really understand it. I've had this experience with a lot of my non-cricket watching friends, even American friends, when I've tried to introduce cricket to them. It's not an easy game to fall in love with. So the idea of the 100 was to make people fall in love instantly with the sport. And how do you do that? You make it colorful, you make it vibrant, and most importantly, you make it easy to understand. You break it down. And that's where a lot of the criticism came in. They wanted to create a shorter, quicker version of the game because they wanted new fans to tune in. So, that's understandable. As custodians of cricket and as the original founders of the game, it is understandable that the ECB, the English cricket structure, they wanted to expand the game within England and Wales and within the UK first. That is why the 100 was created. Now everyone will have their own opinions about it. 100 ball format, what was the need? You could have done it with T20 cricket as well. I'll come to that in a bit. But I'm talking about my initial introduction to this format and how it was being sold and packaged and designed and targeted. So I was working in the production team and our job was to make people feel connected to the game. And it was a hard thing to do in the first season because people weren't really associating with the new team. So it was one big challenge. But the biggest challenge was getting everyone who was already working in cricket to get used to the concept of 100 balls. Now we're used to seeing six ball overs and we're used to seeing the innings sort of divided by overs, 6 balls each, and then everything that went with it for people who were working in the commentary and broadcast and technical teams and all of these people who were working at the first edition of the 100, this was the most challenging thing to do. And let's not forget the players who are the main heroes who were part of the main action. So how will you make the fans feel connected to the game if you yourself are struggling to form that connection? So yes, in the first season, they did struggle with that. And that was one of the biggest criticisms that came out. Yes, they made it look really exciting and really colorful and really beautiful. They added music, they added, live DJs, they added a lot of sponsors that brought their own flavor to the game. But this 100 ball format, it was always going to be a challenge to pull this off. Another thing that the 100 really wanted to do initially and still is trying to do is to get the women's game to grow and develop and to get fans connected to the women's games as much as they connect to the men's game. And I found this so empowering and I found this so refreshing. It doesn't always happen that people tune in or people come to the grounds to watch the women's game if, later on they can also watch the men's game. One of the best things that they introduced in the first season and that they still do is that when people buy a ticket to watch a men's 100 game, they can watch the women's game on the same ticket. This was there in the first season, and it was so empowering and so refreshing to see families coming in and planning their whole day and sort of getting to watch some part of the women's game and then, of course, the men's game later on the same day. So it really gave women's cricket a chance to be at the same level because everything else was also on the same level. I mean, except for what they were being paid. But at the same time, the way that the women's game was being staged, it was at the same scale and the same level as the men's games. So now, fast forward 2026, the question that everyone's asking is, did the 100 succeed? And did the format grow on cricket fans? Did this format help this league get to new fans and connect to new audiences and demographics? In 2026, if you look at the numbers, it was the most viewed and engaged season ever across the 100 channels. Now, this is something whenever leagues post something like this, this was the most watched league on socials, most engaged with league in numbers. I mean, it's always gonna be, I will always take this with a pinch of salt because, in 2026, if you have enough money, if you have a good digital team, I think it's very easy to surpass your previous year's numbers because people are chronically online and people will react to and engage with a lot of cricketing content. If you package it right, it's very easy to get people's attention with good content these days. So, I mean, this is not very impressive for me, the socials thing. So in 2026, the ticket buyers, 22% were juniors, 40% were families. This is a good number because this is what they initially wanted to do as well. Families were the central part of their marketing campaign at that time. And then, of course, 20% women were also coming in to buy. So this is the stat. These are the stats for 2026. Then, of course, the broadcasters have shared their numbers as well. A 7.5% growth in average broadcast audience. That's steady and that's good because they should be getting that at least within England. People should be tuning in to watch the 100 in its 6th year. Community impact, 119 community pitches installed by KP Snacks. Right. So they're working towards engaging the local communities and getting people to appreciate the value in cricket, appreciate the value in connecting and associating with their local teams. If you look at the graphic, you can see that there has been growth. But of course, the league will always try to paint a positive picture and try to talk about the positives and highlight the positives. Here's what I think. Initially, when this season started off, the numbers were not great. People were not coming in to watch the games. You could see empty stands. So maybe the marketing aspect was still struggling. And I understand the reason for it as well, because this season a lot had changed in the 100. 4 teams are now owned by IPL owners. So there was some rebranding, some restructuring within the franchises as well. Some of the established teams had their names and kits changed, and maybe that resulted in the low numbers. The teams that were struggling to sell tickets were the same teams that had some rebranding done. We all know that Manchester Super Giants were formerly known as the Manchester Originals, and then the MI London were formerly Oval Invincibles, and Sunrisers Leeds were formerly Northern Superchargers. So what does this do when you associate with a team, when you establish a connection with your local team, and then one day you wake up and the team has a new name, the team has a new feel, a new vibe. And of course, let's not forget that this season they did the auction, which meant that there were a lot of new players mixed into the squad. So maybe that also added to the confusion when it came to fans feeling connected with the team. See, national teams, that association will always be there. Everyone wants to support their country. But when it comes to franchises, you really have to work hard at building that connection. The teams that rebranded sort of lost all of that goodwill. Maybe, not all of it, but maybe it was damaged. So it's understandable why the numbers initially were low, but later on, they did improve and they did have some good close games as well. So I think we need to credit the cricket as well. But one thing that they are still struggling with is the format. People are really not connecting with it. This is something that a lot of people are still saying, and I also agree with it. They might just have to change the format, and it would be so funny if they change. I mean, it's literally called the 100. How can they go about to change it? How can the 100 be 20 overs? Let's see what happens in the future, but I do think that this is something that they will need to address sooner or later. Right? Enough of my rants. Now I want to read you some of your responses. I asked my Instagram followers, what do you really think of the 100? And after 6 seasons, has the league grown on you? Do you connect with it? Does it excite you? Let's read what you guys have said. It's a mega event, the way it handles both women and men together. I do agree with that. Also, it has been attracting a lot of good talent from the women's cricket circuit from around the world, and now the pay scales have also improved. It's poor outside UK, but it's good fun to take the kids to cricket as tickets are £5. Now, this is what the locals are saying, that, for kids and for families to have a good day out at the cricket, I think this is something that they wanted to achieve in the first season. This is what they set out to do. And if they're successful in doing that, I think at least at the local level, the league is a success. No, 100 is a flop format even after IPL teams are there, but Indian audiences are not interested in it. Now, this is a major aspect of the debate as well, that, despite there being IPL investment, why are people in India not as keen to watch the 100? I'm not sure if this is true for most Indian cricket fans. If you guys are watching and if you're from India, do share in the comments if you also tune in to watch the 100 games. Do they appeal to you? Let me know. 100 is the worst thing that happened to cricket in the last decade. This person has really stated their feelings. Not at all. It seems as to be cricket huh? What's that sentence, bro? It seems as to be cricket being played on another planet with other rules. I get what you're trying to say. It does feel a bit alien. If people are still finding it hard to follow the format, I think it's a sign. I mean, okay. It's not even the most exciting league in the country. Blast is so much better. Now, this comparison would always happen and would always take place, but the Blast is the Blast. It's a different format. It's a different feel. The 100 is a different feel altogether. And could they have achieved it with the Blast? Maybe you can argue that, but then again, it would have defeated the purpose of creating a new format, because that was the need. They were not getting the results and they were not targeting the demographics that they wanted to target with the Blast. I don't even know that it's the 6th season. It tries to be something with almost T20 rules. Huge flop. The idea is just a gimmick. PSL, BBL, ILT20 are much more enjoyable. They tried making it on levels of IPL, but on its way, they confused everybody with the format. I agree about the confusion part. Yep, it's a good concept of game introduced with 100 balls only, which can add pressure on player. This is initially what they wanted to do, because 100 balls is an easy thing to package, to market, and then it adds that pressure, especially on the chasing team, to really, get the job done. I don't think it has lived up to its hype, but definitely they have improved over the years in terms of their marketing and player selections, making it somewhat interesting for regular cricket watchers. Yes, there's no doubt about that. They have improved, and there has been like £500 million investment. So the improvement has to be there. But has it really succeeded as a format? That's the question that I think I still want to ask, and it'll be interesting to see how they address it going forward. Honestly, never saw it and don't know the rules of 100. You're not the only one who doesn't know the rules of the 100, brother. I think most of the mature cricket lovers are not interested in any of the T20 or 100 cricket. That's a point of view, because the purists they haven't really accepted T20 as well, leave alone the 100. So yeah, still a long way to go for that demographic to tune in. But for the others, for the new watchers, for the new viewers, I think it's been exciting, especially the people who come to the stands and support their teams. I think in that aspect, you can say that there has been some success there. Let me know what you guys think of the 100. Do you like the format? Do you even watch the games? And what do you think it has succeeded in doing? And what do you think it still is struggling to do? Leave your comments and please subscribe to the channel and also share the video, like the video. You know what to do. Thank you so much for all your support through all my videos. And please comment and let me know what you think of this one as well. Bye.